I want to do something a little different, and instead of talking over video of me writing, I want to talk to you from this little minimalist apartment where I edit all these videos and tell you about one of the coolest things I've ever done in life, and that was become a UFC Octagon side photographer. So it all started when I moved back to Chicago and I found this internship with a small bilingual newspaper in the neighborhood where I was born in Chicago, Humboldt Park. And, I asked to be a photographer, and they were like, yeah, sure, just go around and take photos of things happening in Humboldt Park. The UFC came into town a few months later, and my editor asked if I wanted to cover it because she knew I was into fighting. Like, I wrestled in high school, I boxed in the Navy, I did Muay Thai out in Thailand. So she knew this was going to be up my alley. So she put in for photo credentials for me to cover the fight, and I thought like I was just going to be in the nosebleed seats with my shitty little beginner level camera shooting down at the Octagon. But when I checked in at the United Center to get my press badge, I looked at it and it said Octagon side photo. And I was like, holy shit, I'm going to be at the Octagon at a UFC fight. This is so fucking cool. And, it was nothing short of amazing. Like, just being only in photography for less than a year, and all of a sudden, and I have this little beginner level camera, and I have these people from like big news outlets next to me shooting on like Canon 1DXs and Nikon D4s, with camera setups that are probably about $10,000, and I just have my little dinky setup. It was really cool. I was like, holy shit, this is the big time. Like, I feel like I've made it, even though, like I wasn't covering the fight for ESPN or AP or whatever. I just felt like, all right, I'm here. So that was exciting. Like, I felt like I needed to get more of that. I wanted to be a part of that. A few weeks later, there was a fighter who was going to fight, UFC fighter, Ricardo Lamas. He was about to fight for the title in Atlantic City, and I got the opportunity to interview him. At that interview, I met the UFC PR director. He gave me his business card and told me to, just typical, hey, stay in touch. A few months later, for UFC 173, I saw that there was a fighter from Milwaukee on the card, and I asked the UFC PR director if I can interview him for a paper. He said sure, gave me the dude's phone number, and I interviewed him for the paper, and the story ran. And I decided to grow some cojones and just ask him like, hey, do you think I can go out to Vegas to cover the fight? And he said, sure, just fill out this press application and we'll see you in Vegas. And I was like, oh, holy fucking shit. I'm going to Vegas to cover a fight. And, I paid for all this out of my own pocket. Like, I paid for my own flight. I paid for my hotel room. In fact, I only stayed in Vegas for a night because I despise Vegas. Like, I never gave two shits about going there. I just thought it was everything that was wrong with America on steroids. So I just want to be in and out. Fly in the night before the fight, cover the fight as a photographer, and after the fight was over, I booked it back to Chicago. But that whole time I was like, damn, this is pretty fucking sweet. I'm at a major sporting event. I have Joe Rogan seats to a major sporting event. So I came up with this idea. It was UFC International Fight Week. Ronda Rousey was going to fight on that card, and I didn't know who Ronda Rousey was, but I knew she was on the come up. I kept hearing her name, but I really didn't know who she was. So I came up with this idea to bring two other veterans with me, or asked the UFC if I could bring two other veterans with me to help me with press coverage during International Fight Week. The UFC PR director said, yeah, sure. fill out these press applications, and we'll see you in Vegas. We got out to Vegas and like the week before the fight to cover all the International Fight Week activities. Got to meet a lot of awesome fighters. Met Matt Hughes, Chuck Liddell, Kat Zingano. And I gotta send a shout out to my boy Kendrick for hooking it up with some of those meetings, like introducing me to some these fighters that I see on TV who I never thought I'd get to meet. So Kendrick Johnson, thanks, brother. I appreciate you. It was amazing, and like not just because I got to be there, my friends also got to get press row seats for that fight. Like they were sitting like maybe just a couple feet behind me on press row, just covering the fights. I had them just help me take notes, help me with social media and whatnot. It's not like they were there just, being fans and getting like, a free hookup. No, like I had them do a little work, help me with interviews and whatnot. But like it was awesome to share that experience. When you're at these big sporting events, you always think that there's celebrities that are going to be there. So I was scoping the crowd, just looking for celebrities, like like in that area that's really close to the Octagon. And then I saw this tall white-haired dude, like maybe like a foot next to me, and I see him. I just like the lights were dim because it was Ronda Rousey was about to fight. Alexis Davis, I think already was in the Octagon, and the lights dimmed right for Ronda Rousey. She was about to make her walk out, and I looked closely at this dude, and I was like, holy shit, you're Anthony Bourdain. What the fuck? This is so fucking amazing. And I fanboyed him, and apologies to the UFC for being unprofessional, and I've always wanted to apologize to Anthony Bourdain. But I was like, holy fuck, dude. I'm a huge fan. Can I please take a photo with you? And this was right before this was, I think, the year Parts Unknown came out, and he looked shocked, and he just nodded his head. He didn't say a word to me, but he was cool enough to let me take a picture with him from the Octagon right before Ronda Rousey was about to come around the corner. I got to meet my travel hero, like out of all places, out of all these situations I could have met him. I met him while I was covering a UFC fight from the Octagon. So that was just, again, that was fucking sweet. And yeah, Ronda Rousey did her thing, and we all had fun. We all had fun in Vegas. And I spent the next, 2 years. I spent the next 2 years covering fights on like it wasn't a month-to-month thing, but every few months when I could afford it, when I could afford to go to Vegas, I would put in for press credentials and ask to cover a fight, and most of the time they were approved. I think there was one time where I didn't get approved, and I applied for a fight in Mexico City, and it would have made sense. I worked for a bilingual newspaper that caters to a lot of Latinos, especially to the Mexican community. It would have made perfect sense to go to Mexico City to cover a fight, but I got shot down. But it's fine, whatever. I didn't take it personally, but I got to cover Conor McGregor fights. Yeah, 2 Conor McGregor fights when he was on the come up at pay-per-views. So yeah, like it was really sweet. I also got to be a photo assistant for 2 photographers for ESPN, and having that connection eventually led me to being a featured columnist at Bleacher Report for a couple of years before I got to Northwestern. So yeah, like being a UFC photographer like really was a catalyst to doing a lot of the cool shit I did in life. And I'm really grateful to the UFC for giving me that opportunity, for giving this small time photographer an opportunity to hang with the big dogs, to hone my craft. I miss it sometimes. When I watch a fight, I miss the atmosphere, and I miss just the energy of the crowd. Well, when you could have a crowd at a UFC fight, especially during a Conor McGregor fight, where Vegas felt like Dublin, with all the Irish fans. I miss having that access, but I'm still grateful that the UFC gave me the opportunity. In fact, like after Extra Sunk, or after the newspaper I worked for went defunct, I was looking for other opportunities to freelance, and I did some stuff with some international MMA websites, and I got to cover a couple more fights in Chicago. I got cover a fight in Shanghai, China, and the last fight I did was at the new arena in Milwaukee, which is gorgeous. I talk a lot of shit about Milwaukee, but that arena is the most beautiful arena I've been in ever. And I tell this story because the story, or my time at the UFC led me to believe that anything is possible. I mean, of course you gotta work for it. Of course you have to, hone your skills. Like, I can't ask the UFC now if I can take photos there. They're not gonna let me unless I have a good reason to. But, and not to sound like, like one of those readers of The Secret or whatever, that just like you wish it and it'll happen. But yeah, just anything is possible. Like, doing, like, my time being a UFC photographer taught me that anything is possible, and that, if I just play my cards right and just hone my skills, I'll eventually get to do cool shit. And I just hope to inspire other people to just not settle for mediocrity, not to settle for what the status quo tells you is like the only thing that's possible for you at the moment. Just, you want to do it, go for it. And if you fall short, so be it. You fall short. It's not like but people, like, you have to risk failure. You have to risk being rejected to maybe get to where you want to go in life. And like, yeah, if I just didn't believe, if I didn't believe there was a way for me to get to the UFC Octagon, maybe I wouldn't have done what I've done. Like, if I didn't grow that set of balls to ask the UFC PR director if I can shoot at the UFC Octagon, then who knows what I'd be. I'd just probably have another average Joe Schmo life. I'm really grateful that I've done a lot of awesome things, and I hope to keep doing more awesome things along the way, and inspire others who like don't feel like they fit in, who feel like this conformist life is not for them, to just say fuck it. I'm gonna chase after what I want to do, and I might have to sell out for a couple years to build up some funds, but eventually I'm gonna get there. So that's what I hope these videos do. As I said, I don't care if I get 10 million views or 10 views. That doesn't matter to me. I'm just having fun. Maybe one day I'll get to do something cool, like shoot at the UFC again, or something on that level. But if that doesn't happen, whatever, I'm still having fun. So that's all I got. It's what I wanted to say. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever. Whatever. Help me become the next Nas Daily. But if not, that's fine. But yeah, I just appreciate you being here, and I'll see you later.